Hi everyone, Janet Boyer here, and today I would like to talk about making assemblage jewelry. Assemblage is basically French for assembling. It's kind of like mosaic work. All of these are things I made with blanks and then glued a bunch of bits and bobs or buttons or what have you. For example, this beauty was made with a wooden blank. I kid you not. And I painted it and I signed it and made a pin. This took me a very long time to make. You might ask, where did I get this from? Well, there was a guy on eBay that was selling a bunch of them. And I thought, oh, those are interesting. So I was going to make some magnets and whatever, and I decided to make a pin using it. And I painted it first with like a pearlescent white paint. And this is just layers upon layers of vintage buttons, different beads, findings, even a bead cap, different kind of crystals, just lots and lots of layers to bring this into this. But it goes to show how you can use blanks that are basic, whether they're metal or wood, and just have fun and layer and use different kind of crystals and bead caps and caviar beads and pearls and, you know, whatever to make something beautiful. Here are some of the metal blanks I've used. Now I got the idea of assemblage jewelry from Bisou Boutiques, and she has lots of videos here on YouTube about how to make assemblage jewelry, and some of the blanks I got from her, some of them are sold out probably. You can make things, you know, black, gingerbread, brass. Any of these could be filled up. I mean, some people do resin, but I love to just fill them with bits and bobs to make beautiful jewelry. Now, it does take some time, takes a long time. You can even fill these up and take the postage stamp and fill those with different kind of pearls and cabochons, you know, flatbacks and things like that. These with the double loops, you could make and hook them all together to make a bracelet. Same way with these, but have it go this way. I love these black ones. They're so cool. So you can look for assemblage blanks or what have you. Like I said, I know Bisou Boutiques has quite a bit, but you can also get them on Amazon. And I'll show you some of the things I made with those types of blanks. For example, I turned this blank into this. So you can see the amount of layering, but it's just a matter of experimentation. I mean, this is even a check glass bead. This is some merino, I think it's called, glass. Some caviar beads. Different findings, different colors. Some amber colored cup chain. Isn't that pretty? And then you can just make any kind of, you know, necklace you want. And so what I did is, to echo the colors, I made it in green and amber. But interestingly, I had some check glass flower beads that mimic that, just in a bigger size. This chain was from Jesse James Beads, and I deconstructed it, the daisy chain, and then I glued some of the amber rhinestones on there and put like a flower type fastener. Now, it is work intensive, but it is fun. It really is fun. And here, let me show you some of the bits and bobs that I use. I meant to have a container of some of the brass findings, but couldn't find it, but that's okay. But see, you can use like different small small pearls. You can use flatbacks or you can use round ones. You can use the caviar beads, which are real tiny. They add a lot of sparkle. Some cup chain, like I bought some cup chain off somebody on Etsy and she gave me like a lot of like samples. But they're just gorgeous. You know, you can use these, and the samples are perfect for if you're going to do any kind of assemblage. But if you like something enough, you can always buy more of a certain color or finish. See, there's like pink and amber. I mean, you can make some really gorgeous jewelry just by layering. Look at that lavender. So yeah, you do have to, you know, have some things to start with though. But you could always just do like mostly buttons, and then if you have just some flatbacks, it doesn't have to be so ornate as this. But I had tons of vintage buttons. I made this, oh my gosh, a couple years ago. I still haven't put it on for sale on Etsy. But it took me a long time, but it was a fun project. So you could just start out with buttons or flatbacks, flatback pearls, cabochons, whatever, and just mess with it, you know, just mess with it and see what you can come up with. Buttons were my gateway drug. I started out loving vintage buttons and wanting to make jewelry with them, and then next thing I know, it was just, I went on to make jewelry. These are a lot of times what's called caviar beads. They're very, very tiny. But if you put some glue on and you sprinkle it like glitter, it'll stay on. There's some more cup chain that I got. I think I might have gotten this from Bisou. This is larger cup chain. So the larger cup chain can obviously be for some of the bigger pendants. But just gorgeous. And they snip off really easy with wire cutters for jewelry, so you can cut it according to size. I have different size rhinestone flatbacks. I have other beautiful caviar beads in a variety of colors. Isn't that gorgeous? Dark green, light green, some orange, black. I even gotten some flatbacks from, I can't remember where I got this from, but they're Preciosa in orange. You can use things like that. You can get things like that at Michael's and what have you. I got some acrylic flatbacks. You can use those. I got these from Core Crea Crafts when she had her Alice in Wonderland. I forget what she called the little treasure package, but of course I had to go overboard and get like 4 of them. But I wanted to make like an Alice in Wonderland kind. Oh, I started making it. I have to go find that cabochon. That pendant blank. I started to make one in this color. I gotta find it somewhere, but it's really cool. I believe I made it with like a black blank, so it looked really neat. And sometimes I start working on things, I put it to the side, come back to it. But here are some of the motifs for the Alice in Wonderland, and some of these are silicone, like these. But you can use silicone, you can use anything. You know, you can use metal, crystals, you can use glitter, cabochons, buttons, whatever you want. So I thought, oh, that would be cool to do. And add sparkle and interest. And there's these. I have not used these yet. I've had these for years, but can you imagine the fun that you can have with these? I got them all together. So, you know, you can add these in between buttons or the crystals or flatbacks or pearls or whatever. It really adds some fun elements to a pendant. As far as what kind of glue to use, I've used E6000, but that stuff is so smelly and toxic. You really must be in a vented area when you use that. It causes cancer. I swear to God, it has to. So I would wear a mask if you use that, or be in a very well ventilated area, perhaps even on a porch if you can handle it. I just bought some B7000 that I heard is less toxic and less smelly and just as good. So we'll see how that goes. I wanted to show you some other things that I made and how you can like just bling these out. For example, I made like a mermaid one with this blank here. And what I did is I added just a lot of like clear and gray and white crystals and just build it up. And then I had a mermaid, and I think I painted her with silver paint. She might have been an antique brass color, but I wanted her to be more silver, so you can always paint metals and mix them. And I just glued and glued and glued in layers. And then because it had that, I added some chain and added some beads and charms that had to do with the sea. And then you basically build up your, you know, neck chain based on that. So then I just made this with some, I forget what this is called, abalone? I can't remember what this is called, but see? And I even mixed the metals because, see, I did brass and silver because it had brass and silver elements. So you can have a lot of fun with that. This one, let me see if I have a blank from this. I don't know if I have any more. No, that's bigger than that. But it was similar to that. And then I just kept building it up, building it up. You got some cup chain. You got some red caviar beads. This is a check glass bead, a smaller one. These are little spacer beads. Underneath this was like a brass finding. And then once that was done, then I just built it up and I used just some Jesse James chain reaction bead. This one took me a very long time. And again, I don't think, is this the same one? No. Oh, this one was the red one. Yeah. So this was the blank, and this is what I turned it into. So you're basically only limited by your imagination. And I don't think I have this exact one. No. But then I painted it on the back. And this took me a long time because, as you can see, there's a lot of layers on there. So we've got mermaids, we have different shells, pearls, seahorse charm. What I do is I take a wire cutter and I cut off the circle at the top that normally attaches as a chain, so then it makes it flat. Actual seashells, lots of little treasures. There's a star. Look at that. I love it that you can turn it at different angles and see something different. And so again, lots of layers, lots of colors. I kind of call this like a mermaid's grotto, like Ariel's grotto almost, you know, filled with a bunch of treasures and shells and symbols of the sea, starfish, seahorse, the mermaid herself. And then, you know, again with the chain, just wanted to keep with the colors and the theme. And then I made that. Then there was a smaller one I did using, let's see, I had it in here. I think this is the one. Let me see. And you can get in any kind of finish. You can get a gingerbread, you can get a brass, black, silver, gold tone. Okay, I thought I had, is this the same one? Yeah, see? And what I did with this is I started with some caviar beads in like an amber color and pink. I believe the first thing I usually lay it down with the big pieces first and then do the caviar beads and what have you around it. So it's kind of like a focal. This is actually just a check glass leaf bead. And so I put that in there and then just kept building it up. Pearl flat back, part of a pink cup chain. And I've had no experience before, you know, this. I just started experimenting. And so to mimic that, I used the actual check glass beads to make the bottom. Like that. So in case you want to try something, you know, really different, you want to challenge yourself, maybe consider doing some assemblage jewelry. And it doesn't have to be as intricate as I have. You know, you can always just put, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 things and just see how you like it, you know. Start experimenting, see what you have in your stash. It's a good way to use some of the findings you might have, spacer beads, some of the smaller stuff that maybe you don't like to use smaller beads or whatever, or findings or spacers in your jewelry. Well, guess what? You can turn them upside down and use them in assemblage. Like, for example, this was a bead cap, turned it upside down. This one, flip the other side. This was one of those, like a cool, like antique almost bead cap, put that on the corner. This was like an AB leaf bead. So I love it that every time you look, you see something different. You know, vintage beads were the base. This was a vintage bead on top of a vintage bead. So really cool, right? And then you can make it a magnet, a refrigerator magnet. You could put a pin on it and make it a brooch. Pretty cool, right? So I just thought I would share my assemblage jewelry. And like I said, Bisou Boutiques has a lot of, especially her older ones, on how to make these and how to layer them. And that'll give you a lot of inspiration. And then, of course, you can make your chains however you want them. These are already up on my Shea Boyer Etsy shop, by the way, chez.boyer.etsy.com. I've sold a few already, and I haven't put this one up yet. I need to do that. So I hope you found this video inspiring. If you have any questions, if I can help you, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. If you've not subscribed, feel free to subscribe if you're interested in things like junk journaling or paper crafts or making jewelry or creativity in general. Feel free to drop a line where you're from and what you liked most about these, which one's your favorite. And I thank you for spending some time with me today, and I hope you're having a great day. Well, until next time, bye-bye for now.